Hi, everyone. This is Heather with the Old Schoolhouse, and I'm so excited to be here with you again. And in case you haven't noticed, I've been trying to come online every couple of Mondays, a few Mondays a month. And last time I was on here, I was able to interview Deborah Wooler with the Old Schoolhouse magazine, and that was such an awesome opportunity. If you haven't seen that video yet, I would go back and definitely watch that. Today, I'm going to be talking about the parent resources that we have available at schoolhouseteachers.com. And I'm really excited to get into this with you guys because, well, you asked. I I put a question out there to some of our affiliates and I said, what do you want to know more about? And um, a lot of them wanted to know about the parent resources. When you start using schoolhouseteachers.com, you're looking for content for your kids. And you're going around, okay, I need science, I need history, I need English. And it's so easy, to be focusing on your kids, especially if you have more than one, then you're looking for all the content. But it's easy to forget about the parent resources and the things that you need as a parent, especially during these times. And I would love for you to share this video with your friends, get it out there, let people know. If they're looking into homeschooling, if they're new to homeschooling, I really would love for them to know about the resources that we have available at schoolhouseteachers.com, because I think a lot of people just don't know what is available, what we have for them. And this is a time where I know a lot of you watching are new to homeschooling and you don't really know where to begin. And it can be tempting, after a few weeks, after a few months, to just kind of throw in the towel if you don't have that right support. And we want to be that support for you. We don't want you to throw in the towel for lack of support. Absolutely not. We want to let you know that we have that available for you. And I'm going to show you a little bit where you can find that. And I was thinking about, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and how when they were thrown into the fiery furnace, they were tied up. It says that, that they were tied up and they were thrown in. And when they were thrown in there, the men that threw them in were immediately burned up. And Nebuchadnezzar was so mad that he even turned the heat up. And still, they weren't burned. But not only that, they weren't just laying down there all tied up, just, barely making it. And then, okay, they got out, just barely got out of there. No. Nebuchadnezzar saw them. He said, I see them loosed. They were loosed. They weren't tied up anymore. They were completely loosed and they were walking around. And not only were they walking around, but there was a fourth man. For those of you who know that story, it's not just a story, but that event, there was a fourth one in there. And King Nebuchadnezzar said, it looks like the son of man. It looks like a son of man. And he was converted. He believed in God after that. And it's a powerful testimony. And I feel like for homeschooling families, you might feel like you're tied up with the naysayers in your life. You may feel like I just started homeschooling and people are telling me, oh, maybe you should do the public school thing, or maybe you should do the virtual schooling. And, maybe your parents remember how bad you did in school and they remind you of that. And they think, how in the world can she homeschool her kids? She did terrible in math in 5th grade. And, but those are just lies, because it doesn't matter, because there's resources out there for you. And this isn't about you homeschooling your kids. It's about you providing them an education. It's completely different than what I think a lot of people think. And you don't have to just barely make it. You don't have to be tied up, laying in this fiery furnace that you might feel sometimes, because you're not used to this experience. But you can be walking around freely. You can be doing this with freedom, and it can be a testimony, and people can say, wow, I see that God is with her. I see that, this isn't just her. And I just want to encourage you that you can do it, and we're here to help you. And I mean, I've talked to parents who, I remember this one mom, and she said, I would just be home and it would just be me and the kids. But in my mind, I would just hear my mom saying, "You can't do it," and a lot of the decisions she would make in her homeschooling would be based on something that wasn't even real. It was just in her mind, the fear of what she thought people would think of her, what she thought her parents would think of her, her in-laws. And I mean, I think maybe a lot of us are guilty of that. We're afraid of what people might think. But we have to remember it's us and it's our kids and it's God. We're doing this to please God. And I just want to encourage you that if you have naysayers in your life, or even if it's just, in your head and you just can't fight that, and it's really hard on those hard days, there is so much here for you. There's so much here on those days. And I would encourage you, you make a schedule for your kids and you make sure they get certain subjects done each day, and you have the core subjects and the electives. But what about you? Are you getting what you need as a homeschool mom? In addition to spending time with the Lord and prayer and devotions, are you learning more about what homeschooling is? Because if you're just jumping into this for the first time, you have no idea. You might have an idea because you met a few families or you've read some blogs, and but the resources that I'm going to share with you, I think could really be encouraging. And I'm going to actually start with the parent ebook library, which is found in the resources section of schoolhouseteachers.com. So you go up here to the resources in the blue bar and just go down to the parent ebook library. And I mean, it wouldn't hurt to just schedule for yourself, read a book a day, read a book a week, so you can be encouraged. And you can just look at these books. It's like you're going to a homeschool convention and just seeing what works for you. Are you struggling with socialization? I know I did when I first started. I wanted to sign the kids up for everything so they would be socialized. But again, a lot of that was in my head. I was afraid of what other people would think. Because when you meet strangers and you say you're homeschooling, the first question they might ask you, "Oh, did you join a co-op? Oh, that would be really great if you should. That your kids need a co-op, And I think really, and they just say that because that's what they know and it makes them feel better, I think. But and they just don't know. And if you're new, you just don't know. And the myth, it is a myth, the myth of socialization. So here is an ebook that you can read on your own time. If you're struggling with that, just set aside some time and read through this resource. I mean, if you, in any other area of life, if you needed help with something, you would go, raising your child, or when it's a newborn, you would go to your mom, or, someone in your church, if you are struggling with, a certain area of how to raise them. Well, if you don't have anybody that knows anything about homeschooling, where do you go? And then that's when people quit. That's when they give up because they don't know where to go. And they just hop on the internet and they don't even know what to search, what to type, because it's just so overwhelming. So here you can look through these ebooks. You can see what would be relevant to you. And the myth of socialization is an excellent resource because it shows you that your kids are actually, as a homeschooler, have the opportunity to be socialized in a completely different way. It's not just with their peers, which is that even really the best group to be teaching them life skills anyway. Yes, I want my kids to have friends, in their peer group. Of course, we all do. But I also want them to be comfortable around the elderly. I want them to serve them. I want them to learn from them and just have different opportunities to be with their parents in ways that, you might not have with, your traditional education. And then speaking of traditional education, there's so many different styles of education. So the second book here is called A Classical Education. And, this doesn't mean just grab some classic books and classical education. Classical education is an actual train of thought. It goes back and it studies the Latin, and it has a lot of dictation and memorization. And I'm not really completely familiar with it. I know that if you've heard of classical conversations, it uses the classical education method. And so you could read this book if you wanted to know more about it. I mean, chances are wherever you live, there's probably a classical conversations community in your area. And so if that's something you've been considering and wanting to know more about, like, who are these CCers? What are they doing? And, you can learn about the philosophy behind what they do, which it might be something for you. And we have the fast track to memorization, which, of course, that's not something that you're just going to know how to teach your child. When you're, this is a great resource to help you. I mean, you want your child to know their states and capitals, and you want them to know their times tables, but what's the practical way to get there? And so this is a great resource for that. And this one I'm really, really excited to share with you. It's called Homeschool Dialogues. And the best way I can describe this to you, it almost feels like when you read through this, it's like a documentary, because it's the publishers, Gina and Paul Suarez, and they are interviewing Josh McDowell, John MacArthur, different well-known names in parenting and homeschooling and the church. So you read through these and they are just filled with a wealth of information. And if you're involved in youth ministry at all, you've heard of Josh McDowell, and he reaches to the heart of youth. And this is just an excellent resource if you have teenagers. And really, it touches on everything. But if you still have your kids in public school and you're kind of thinking, maybe I want to try the homeschooling route, I would definitely recommend that. Or if you just started homeschooling and you're still kind of struggling with, should I send them back? Or even if you are trying to find the right words to say, maybe to family members or friends or church members that don't understand it, this might help you, because there's a lot of nuggets in that ebook. These books are amazing. And like I said, just, I really think you should schedule these for yourself, like you schedule things for your kids, and take time to read through these, because there's not a whole lot of places to really get fed as a homeschool mom or dad. I'm sure there's some dads watching, and there's not a whole lot of places to get that. And we really do. We have the resources already available. The work has already gone into preparing these. And we just really want you to know that with your schoolhouseteachers.com membership, you have access to all of these. So if you go through here, Charlotte Mason, that is another philosophy of education right here. That might be something that you're interested. Nature studies, read aloud, living books. So if you read through that, and you might think, okay, maybe that's something for me. And these different methods I'm talking about, it's different than just the traditional sitting at a desk getting schoolwork done. Because when you take your kids home and you homeschool them, that's what the easiest thing to do, because that's all we know sometimes. But there really are other ways. And there's not necessarily one that's better or worse or anything like that. But this just provides different options for you. So, and the last one I'm going to just touch on here is the Hey Mama 31-day devotional. And that was created by the publisher, Gina Suarez, and that is an awesome, awesome resource. So I would definitely recommend downloading that, printing that out, or reading it on your tablet, your phone. It's an excellent resource. Okay, so that was the parent ebook library. And I want to say, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box or any comments. And when I'm done going through these resources, I will get to as many as I can. So I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you, but please absolutely leave questions. So back to the resources tab on the blue bar on schoolhouseteachers.com. I'm going to go to Just for Parents, because this is where you'll find the courses. for parents. And yes, there are actual courses for parents. And just like with the ebooks, I think it would be great if, maybe you took a Saturday off, or you just one night you asked your husband, hey, can you watch the kids? I'm just going to go, get refreshed, because we don't have those things. I mean, some of us still aren't able to go out to the same places that we used to. Maybe you had, a certain way to kind of relax before everything happened this year, and you can't do that anymore. Come up with new ways, be creative, and go to a lake or a place that is open, and read through one of these or watch one of these. Some of these, if you see the triangle, the red triangle here, then these are actually video based. So Building Faithful Kids, if I click on this, it's going to show you that this particular parent course has over 12 and a half hours and 450 questions. Don't be scared. 450 questions for parents. So you can go through this, and you could do this with your spouse. You could do this on your own, and just be intentional about raising your kids. Be intentional about building them for the kingdom of God, so that when they get out into the real world, they're faithful to the Lord. They're faithful to their work, and these are things that have to be taught. And if you don't feel like, you have, maybe your parents weren't Christian, maybe that's something that wasn't important or even on your radar growing up, you can start now. You can change that. And the resources are here to absolutely help you. And, Building Faithful Marriages is another excellent course, which of course is important with homeschooling. And 3 hours of video and 100 study questions here as well. I know sometimes our husbands might be like, oh, is that really what I want to watch at night? Let's watch something else. But, this is something that could be really helpful. And if you have a date night planned, throw this in there. And if you can't go out to a local restaurant, wait for the kids to go to bed, make or ask your husband to make you a fancy meal and, and watch some of these videos, or have the kids make a meal for you. So we have, several different courses that I think could be absolutely helpful to parents. And like I said, I just don't think that a lot of parents know that we have these available for them. And we have Dealing with Emotions, which is 5 hours of video, 100 study questions. You could use these as a devotional. You could use these, in the morning. You could choose to get up and get excited, read the word, pray, and then watch this, watch one of these to strengthen, your relationship with the Lord and your vision for homeschooling. Disconnected, connecting with teens in a digital age. Yesterday, I'm talking with this teenager, and she's using words that I have never even heard of. And I'm not the type of person to think that, I need to be relevant, because, the word of God is always relevant. But there's nothing wrong with, understanding what the kids are doing. I mean, you don't have to join TikTok to know that it exists. These things are out there, and this course helps you to connect with teens in this unique age that we're in right now. And so this is a 51-minute video special, and with study worksheets, and let's go back and see what other courses for parents. There was, yes, this is what I wanted to touch on, was the organization, because I feel like, and there's more, this is just the one I'm going to touch on. There's everyday organization, but there's actually some spring cleaning classes and some other organization courses, which I think a lot of moms struggle with this. um, because I mean, I went to public school and I came home and my house was always tidy. So, of course, I expect my house to always look tidy because that's what I remember when I was a kid. But my house wasn't lived in. My parents were working and it's just a different lifestyle. My house is being lived in now. So, it's a little different. And so these different courses help to teach you because I feel like I need to be taught how to organize, how to be mindful of, and how to teach my kids to be organized. This is something that's just all part of the learning process. It's life skills. And so having these courses can help because, um, you know, some homeschool moms hire housekeepers, and that's totally fine. But some can't afford it, and then they get really frustrated because their house isn't clean. And I mean, I would hate for a homeschool mom to have to feel like they have to stop homeschooling because their home isn't clean. But I mean, I would not be surprised if that happens because you feel that pressure, like this is my job, like I'm a housewife, I'm supposed to keep my house clean. But so these classes can help. I think it'll help ease the frustration. That doesn't have to be completely spotless all the time, but it helps you too. If you do struggle with it, it'll help you to get a little more back on track. So I think courses like these are just so wonderful because this isn't something you're going to be taught anywhere else. I mean, if you have a college degree, you didn't take a class like this in college, and there's no school for homeschooler to learn how to be a homeschool mom. So basically this is it. These are courses on how to homeschool if you think about it. And it's such an awesome resource because it's in those moments where it's just you and your home and you feel like you're failing and things aren't working out. But if you come here, you most likely can find something that you can relate to. And that leads me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the Schoolhouse Teachers, the magazine that you can get as a schoolhouseteachers.com member, which is the Old Schoolhouse magazine, which I have a copy right here. This is the most recent copy that we have available. And as a member, not only do you get the magazine 4 times a year, but you can see, and let's see, you can see the back issues. And this might be I'm pretty sure this is available because they're digital, so anybody could see these, but I still wanted to touch on these because like I said, if you're looking for something, there are hundreds and hundreds of articles from over the past almost 20 years that you can go and you can look through these and find something. I mean, if you want to know about, teaching foreign language, if you want to know about how to teach your special needs child, or if you're a widow and trying to figure out how to homeschool without a spouse. I mean, there are so many different unique situations, but then you have to remember, even though your situation may seem so unique and so hard, you're most likely not the only one because there have been so many that have gone before you. And there's so many articles here to help in such a wide variety. So if you go click on where I was over here in the resources, and you go down here and click on the trade magazine, then you'll find all these back issues, which is just an awesome, 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 awesome resource. So I wanted to let you know about those. And then I wanted to quickly share about the Schoolhouse Expos before I answer some questions. I just want to tell you about these because I know there was a time where I would tell my husband when my kids were really little, oh, I really want to go to a homeschool convention, But at that time, it wasn't practical. Now we go every year that we can, but back then it wasn't practical for several reasons. And he's like, "Oh, just go on the internet, just go on YouTube. I'm sure you can find something." And I would go, I'm like, "I really can't." Like, there's nothing like being at a convention. It's just I can't find anything. And um, the old schoolhouse has actually provided that, which is so awesome. So with your membership, you can see their expos that they've had in the past that are essentially like a convention. They have different people that this is the one I wanted to show you, the October 2012 Homeschooling Your Extra Special Blessing. So you'll have different speakers that are talking, and you can just watch this free with your membership. And you have someone from the Family Hope Center, which is an awesome, awesome organization. And just listening to him, whether you have special needs children or not, is just phenomenal. Just the way he approaches helping special needs children is just absolutely inspiring. So I would definitely watch this one. 4 hours. If you have 4 hours to spare, go ahead and watch this. So these are just excellent resources. And I think I'm going to see if there's any questions. Let's see. Do we have any questions? Okay. So another thing that I will share with you is the monthly menu. If you are struggling, when I first was married, I could barely, I'm not kidding, barely boil a pot of water. Like, it was bad. And I just wouldn't know what to make. I had no idea. And, but now things have changed, and I was forced to learn how to cook. But still, there are times when, I'm pregnant and I'm not feeling good, or there's just a lot going on, and I can't, sit there and make things from scratch all the time. So to have a menu and be like, okay, I can just buy these ingredients and just, get these on the table quick and easy. So for each month of the year, there are some awesome recipes that you can use. So just wanted to let you know that this resource is available, because again, I just think a lot of people don't know that we have this. So I think that's pretty much all I want to share with you about the resources that we have here. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any courses or sections of schoolhouseteacher.com that you would like me to talk about in the future, please leave a comment, and I will see what I can do about sharing that with you. And I'm really excited because we are going to be having Homeschool Live coming soon, where I will be interviewing different companies. So just stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you next time.